What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Man, I'm just making it out here. Let me tell you something. I had a good day. I didn't spend any money. I stayed disciplined. So that was always a good thing. Shoes came in, got some new LeBron James shoes. Went to the gym. It just was a normal day. Normal day. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I just finished watching my premiere, so I'm amped up and I'm ready for us to get it in, boy. I'm ready for us to get it in.
Hey, listen. Me too. Me too. Okay, so before we get started, I was thinking you can just tell the watchers a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, many people already know me, and I see some people who have come over from the premiere. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So I'm Tanya TKO. I'm a self-love specialist and relationship expert from TanyaTKO.com. I make videos empowering people to love themselves and each other. I'm also an African-American woman. I'm Caribbean and African-American. And I have been doing response videos lately. Responding to videos that are in alignment with my niche, with my targeted audience, etc. When I came across your video, hi everybody, welcome everybody. When I came across your video where you were talking about not wanting to be a provider or wanting to be, or saying I'm not a provider, I'm a person, and then I did a response video to that. You apparently had some feelings about what it is that I said, and you challenged me to go live with you, in which you were having people in the comments amped up talking about, and you were saying I didn't need to be a coward, and saying I needed all this, that, and the other. So I'm here now. I'm here. Where's that big talk now, Ace? Okay, I'm just joking. Okay, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it down a notch. I'm gonna bring it down a notch. I'm gonna bring it down.
Okay, so first, I'm about to go back to the syntax and the act. I actually just said what I love about social media, and even what you do, the response videos I really, really love. The one thing that I have a problem with, or not a problem, but something that tickles me when it's done about me, is when the narrative is shifted. And so what I feel like is simple dialogue between us here on live feed will give me a better understanding where you're coming from. Because when I listen to it, I absolutely agree with some of the points you make. However, as the original creator of the content, I feel like the narrative was changed. And so that's why I was like, man. And then also, like I was saying, I think for transparency, for my sake, and the fairness of my page, that it is a great opportunity and for other people to get to hear other perspectives. So not just Ace's perspectives, but they get another person's viewpoint and on what I said, just to keep everything balanced. So what I want to do is give you the floor first, just to tell me, what did you think about the video? And then maybe if you wanted to ask me specific questions, I can respond to them.
Well, I expressed what it is that I thought about the video in the video that I made, where I talked about, let's start with being a provider first. That was one of my biggest points, because we can't say that there is an overabundance in the Black community of all of this providing and all of these provisions going on, because our community is tattered. Our community is tattered. And what we have out there now is, first of all, we live in a patriarchy that is governed by the underlinings of toxic masculinity. I understand what it is that you were saying. Oh, yes, you've been hurt. You didn't get the nurturing that you needed when you were young. My main point is, please get therapy. Your woman is not your therapist. She is not your unlicensed, unpaid, unqualified therapist. She is not your oven to jump inside of and then be birthed out brand new. She's not your womb to be reborn. Your woman is your companion. And what I'm seeing is, and I've watched some of your other videos, including the one that you did with Aaron Mallory, where I only saw a small piece of that, where you were talking about this inability that you have to cry. In the video, you talked about how you were scolded for having emotions. In the video, you talked about not wanting to be with a woman who made you feel like you were in the second grade. No one can make you feel anything. And listen, and I'm glad that I'm here with you live, Ace. if you have not already, because you said that a part of what it is that you do is scripted or unscripted theater, I'm asking you, please, because I also hear that you're single and you're going out on this looking for a wife tour, etc. Please, please get therapy. Listen to what it is that I'm saying. Go in. It is not easy. It's not easy. You see, the difference between my videos and other people's videos is that some other people's videos are for entertainment value. I don't get up there and ha-ha and I kiki. If there is a joke, there's a joke, but it comes because I'm just a naturally, comedic person. I got good timing. You know what I mean? But I'm here to help people create change in their lives. I had a near-death experience in 2007, and I know from that near-death experience that what it is that we're doing here, there's a lot more going on than we realize. We have a lot of help. We have a lot. So I don't want to stay on the soapbox too long, and I know I'm already amped up because I was just watching that video, and I'm hyped. I'm hyped, right? So I'm asking you, please. Please get therapy. Don't rely on your woman to be your therapist. I also saw some other videos that you made. And the thing is that you make these videos and you're smiling and you're joking. And you got these women being mesmerized and conditioned by what it is that you're saying. Women who they themselves did not grow up in a household that was functioning. And so they're like, oh, wow, yeah, this may make sense because we worship men. In the patriarchies, we worship men. And so the word of a man holds much more weight than anybody else. So when I saw your video, you were like, what do you need a man for? You don't need a man to protect you. Who you got? I might be scared too. They see these things and they're like, oh, well, what do I need a man for to protect me and provide for you? Like, don't you got a job? You need somebody to buy your groceries. It's a lot more than just that. And I don't know what your past and previous relationships were like or are like now. However, protection and providing for is something that women need. It is needed for the feminine to unfurl. If you want to be able to have, it's just like a flower being able to bloom. If you want to be able to have access to the full breadth and depth of that flower, pun intended, then you're going to have to be able to do the things that women naturally and evolutionarily are geared to want and need in men. And that is it.
Okay, so
the floor is yours.
I want to say, and I appreciate your outlook. And like I said, I feel like there's a lot of different points. 2 weeks ago, anybody that follows me will know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a whole week where I was talking about mental health. And I even told my followers that what I wanted to do was proactively go and get counseling. I always encourage people to find, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a therapist, to get checks-ups on your mind, just like we go for a regular routine doctor's visit. When you get your blood pressure checked and your cholesterol checked, I feel like the same is true when you talk about mental health. So that's the first thing. And I know it looked like you're twirling. I don't know if you're still here, but if you can hear me, let me know, because I got a really good point I want to say in 2 seconds. All right. Because it's I got bumped. All right, I'm about to bring you back on. All right, we got you back. You back? So
I got bumped out of the broadcast.
So basically what I was saying was I advocated about maybe 3 weeks ago. I did a whole week of just videos advocating for mental health. Mental health in not just after a reactionary type of situation, but preventative. I'm a firm believer that people, just like you go to the hospital to get checked, your blood pressure checked, your routine visits to your doctor just to get your blood pressure and your cholesterol, and women go to get their mammograms physically, I think mentally we should do the same thing. A lot of people feel like they have to wait until there's a major issue to go get mental health. I'm an advocate for therapy, and I think everybody should do it, just to make sure, not even if it has to be a psychologist, it can be a counselor, it can be a spiritual mentor, somebody's older that's in a generation that can help you unpack your feelings. That's the first thing. The second thing that you said that was pretty interesting, you said your woman is not your therapist, and I agree with that completely 100%. But a man is not your savior. And I believe that also 100%. And just like you, I would encourage, and I always think about when I have children, I would encourage my daughter to always be self-sufficient, independent, to always have her own. I've seen too many times, and when we talk about just in the Black community or any community in general, I've seen too many times when you think about the divorce rate, it's 50%. 50%. And too many times women have sacrificed their opportunity at careers and goals and dreams for a man. And I'm an advocate against that. I think that you should be co-working together to build each other's dreams, that you should have your course and your path and you should stick to it and find somebody that's on a similar path as you. But what happens is people get into these relationships and they get so dependent on their spouse. And like I said before, 50% of those end in divorce. And then that woman is normally left with nothing because she stayed home exclusively to take care of the kids. She didn't pursue her identity as far as her career. And then when the pregnancy happened, one of the things you said in your YouTube video that I felt was interesting is men and women on par. There's not a big gender wage gap on par for single women and single men. There is still, but not drastically different. The difference happens after the woman becomes pregnant because she makes decisions for the family, whereas the man can continue to do what he wants to do. He can continue to go to work. He can continue to do overtime. So why I preach to everybody that watch me, if you're a woman, have your own shit. Sorry, have your own stuff. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are doing what you want in this life as far as career, education, because at the end of the day, you're going to wake up to yourself no matter what happens to anybody else in your life as long as you're alive. But people come and go. But the major thing I want to talk about, just to unpack those things, is I think, and you said it a couple times in your YouTube video, I never once said that I don't think men should be providing things at all. I never even said I wasn't a provider. I used quotation.
I didn't say that you said that.
But what I want to do is just clarify for the people that's watching. When I say provider, I mean the label. I mean, I don't want to be labeled a provider. If I feel like we fell in love with each other and we spent all our lives together, and at the end of our lives, you say to me, Ace, or somebody, I've passed on and somebody asked you, what did you enjoy most about Ace? Tell me a story. And the first thing that come to your mind was he was a great provider. We never went without. He had grind and ambition. He this, he that. I would feel like I failed as your husband. The first thing I would ever want you to say out of your mouth is, he was a great person. We laughed together. We fell in love. We created this journey together. I could always depend on them to be there for me physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's me. Now, when back to me, I do pretty well for myself. I work 16 hours a day. I still work at the hospital part-time, and then I do this, I travel, I do okay. Providing for me isn't a problem. You know what I'm saying? But what for me is, and one of the things you said in the video, you were talking about how you're like, what type of women is he looking for? I'm looking for somebody that values me. The point of the video was saying, value who I am. Because holistically, I'm much more than what I bring to the table as a provider. I'm more than that. That is a small piece of the vast array of qualities that I have. And if you can't appreciate me past that, then that's not a relationship I want to be in. I want somebody that's going to be able to give to me the same way I'm giving to them. The same way that I want to plan dates for her, surprises for her, go out and give gifts for her, is the same type of energy I want in exchange. I want to pop up one day and we got Bengals tickets and we go to fucking game. Oh, we got tickets. What? Or you know, I like Arnez Jade, my favorite comedian. Pop up with tickets and we go. And so what I'm saying is, a lot of times, what I was saying in the video wasn't that men were pouting to me about the burden to provide. It's that oftentimes, and this is something that only a man would understand. Well, not only, people can you can kind of project, but unless you're in it, a lot of times we pour and we pour and we pour and we pour, and we're not being poured back into. And we interpret love as your ability to receive ours. And I think that's false. And that's why a lot of men wake up later on in relationships and figure out they don't even love this woman because he's been pouring and pouring and pouring in. She's been receiving, but she hasn't been putting the same energy out. So it was a challenge both ways. It was saying, men, hey, we need to open up and express our feelings and be open to accepting gifts of gratitude. Because a lot of times it's not that a woman, and I'm gonna wrap it up so you can respond, but a woman, women tell me all the time when I talk, they'll say, well, Ace, I tried to pay for this date. I tried to do something to show him that I appreciated him, but he will refuse and be like, nah, I got the check. That it makes him feel less of a man. So my challenge was to men, yo, it don't make you less of a man to accept a genuine gesture from somebody that wants to show that they appreciate you. And also for women, don't just assume, because a lot of times you meet men that don't want you to do anything. Don't assume that we don't like the same things you like. Because before I am a man and before you are a woman, you are a person. And that's the way I feel. And we all have similar needs. Yes, sometimes we communicate them differently, but you want to be loved just the way I do. Hopefully. That's what I had to say.
No, I'm a woman. I don't want to be loved in the way that you want to be loved. I hope not, because the way that a woman interprets love and the way that a man interprets love are going to be very different. I appreciate you saying all of that. It does shed some more light on what it is that we were talking about. And I'm going to tell everybody in 8 minutes, we're going to be heading over to my Facebook page to finish up the conversation over there. So we're going to start here, and then we're going over to Facebook to finish up the conversation there. First question I have for you is, okay, so you're an advocate for therapy. Have you gotten therapy?
I have. Not recently, and that is one of the enlightenment periods that I had 3 weeks ago. Not recently. I have been to therapy.
Okay.
And when I was younger, and here recently, I felt the need to go back to provide an example for those, for myself, for checkup for myself. Because listen, I don't know if anything wrong with me, because I'm not a professional here. So what I want to do is go and make sure that everything is firing, my feelings are firing the way they should be, my emotions are firing the way they should be, and I encourage everybody to do that, not just people that seem to have issues. So that's the first thing.
Because I just saw a video just yesterday where you were saying, you know, in the video with Aaron Mallory, that you have not been able to cry in years, that you've never been able to cry.
Yeah, and those are recent epiphanies. So that's what that whole realization is what inspired the video, the 4 or 5 videos that I did about why we feel like we can't express our emotions.
So what is it that you're doing right now about getting, because I know that you have the tour plan, so I know that you've made plans to go out on the Looking for a Wife tour, but what is it that Ace is doing right now to get the therapeutic need, the psychological therapy that you are looking for? What is it that you're doing right now?
Well, I encourage everybody to do routine checkups on themselves. So what I do is I do open meditation with myself weekly, set goals with myself.
I'm talking about in terms of the therapy, in terms of getting therapy. What is it that you're doing right now to get therapy?
Well, my plan is to go. I haven't yet made any kind of appointment. No, but the plan is.
Okay.
But the way in which it's being communicated, the syntax of the way in which you're saying it to me is you need it. I think that everybody does. It's not something that, and I think what discourages people is when people use it as a weapon instead of a healing thing. So when I say, hey, everybody needs some checkup, whether it is a therapist, and like I went through the 4 things earlier, you need somewhere where you can seek and have a safe
Listen, I completely feel you, and I heard you when you said that you were an advocate for therapy. What I didn't hear is what you're actually doing, because like we can talk to our base about how everybody needs to get therapy, and I am an advocate for that, as I said inside the video, and as the video series that I've been making. However, when we are here creating content for people in our brokenness.
But I'm not broken. So
in our brokenness, all of us have brokenness. And when you say that you don't have the ability to cry, there's some brokenness that exists there. When you say that you don't want to be in a relationship with a person who makes you feel like you're 7 years old, being screamed at about not being able to emote or all of these other things, listen, you have brokenness, I have brokenness, all of the people who are watching have some form of brokenness. Nobody escaped from childhood without brokenness. We're here on this earth to find the ascension, or to connect to the ascension of our souls. None of us made it out of childhood unscathed. So when you start saying, I don't have brokenness,
no.
You know what?
I said I'm not broken, and
I said I said in our brokenness.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
But I replied, I'm not broken. Now there may be some parts of me that need more work than others. There may be parts of me that's lagging behind. But in the totality, I am proud of who I am, who I become, and how I cope with things.
It's not about pride, and it's not about coping.
But what I'm saying to you is, it isn't that I make videos out of my brokenness. That's what
we all listen. You know what?
I'm telling you. Let me just.
Oh, I see. I've hit a sore spot here.
No, it's not a sore spot. What I'm doing is I'm just redirecting so that I make it obvious to those that are watching that I don't make videos for my brokenness. And I don't think that I'm a broken person. But if anybody that's watching right now, if everybody has some things that they need to work on, it doesn't mean that you need therapy when we use it as a tool. When people say that you need to go to therapy, no, it just means that, hey, you want to enhance what you are already building on. So when I say I'm going to go to therapy, it's to enhance my life experience. And what I want everybody that's watching right now to know that, no, I don't think you're broken per se. I don't think something is wrong with you. I don't think you didn't make it. I'm saying that everybody that's watching, we can all improve. So even if you feel like everything is okay, which it may be, how can we get it to great? Even if things are great.
Yeah, you know what? I have an issue right now. We got 2 more minutes here before we head over to my Facebook page, right? I have an issue because on the one hand, you're talking about therapy and how we all need to go to therapy, but then you also kind of buck against therapy as if there's some sort of shame about it. Like, I'm very proud of who I've become. I don't need therapy. I don't have brokenness. And I'm like, listen.
I didn't say that. I said that. I said I should.
We can do the playback. I mean, it's recorded.
Yeah, we can. But what I said, and I know I said it for sure, is saying go to therapy should never be weaponized. And what I want to do is make sure that people are watching right now, because the way you're directing it at me, I interpret it as it was a weapon. So what I'm saying is I can take it. Don't get me wrong.
And you know what?
But for the people that are watching right now, it's something that is not something to be weaponized. It is something to be encouraged, and from a great place, not a hurtful place, not an angry place.
Right, but you know what? If I said, are you going to the grocery store? You wouldn't be like, oh, well, you can't weaponize that. What I'm saying is your attachment, whatever type of attachment you have to therapy, right? Or the word brokenness or whatever, that's personal, and that can be worked on inside of you. If I said, oh, you're going outside, you wouldn't be like, oh, you weaponizing going outside. So like that type of stuff, and however it is that you regard the word therapy, that's personal, and that can be worked on inside of you.
So one more point before we go to your platform that I want to bring home on this one. And this is for you and then everybody watching. The people that follow me, that I make random videos about random things. Not everything is about me personally. It is about experiences. It's about stories. It's just to tell from a different perspective. The monologue that I made was that. It came from real spaces. It came from real feelings. But it is something that you take a combination of stories and you say, this is a problem I need to address. How can I convey that on video to where people can feel it? And so a lot of times that's what you see when you see my videos. You may not know that. People that follow me do. And as a poet, that's how I express myself. Now, what I will say this is,
We're going to have to stop right there. It's 4 o'clock. So let's head over and you can hold that thought. And then we'll head over to my Facebook and then we'll continue the conversation over there, starting and picking up with therapy.
All right.
And the weaponizing thereof. Whew. I had to come in and make a comment after this video because I didn't want to upload this to my page with it being left in its current context. When I was editing this video, I found it very, very frustrating. Let me ask you this question. Out of the 25 minutes of this video, did I get a chance to speak? Besides in the very beginning when I did my intros, after that, was I allowed to talk, express, and have a conversation with this person? I want you to answer that. Yet during the broadcast, in the comments, there were a bunch of women who were telling me to shut up and be quiet and let him speak, and other men telling me that I was hogging the broadcast, right? So, you know, I'm sorry, let me calm down. All right. See, this is how we get fooled by men who come in with a nice smile, saying all of the right things, because even after this video, he's still inside of my DM saying all of these nice things in the DM, but actions not matching the words. He deleted the comment that he put up where he was coming at me with all of this aggression and this masculine energy, challenging me to come to his broadcast, telling me that if I need to have the courage to face him, etc., having other women come up inside the comments talking about I'm weak, etc., right? He deleted that comment. Fine. All right. But I want you all to notice something. Just please rewind and take a look. One of the things is, at one point he said that he wanted to comment on the context that I had in the video because I said that he wasn't a provider. And then when I corrected him on that, then he said, "No, I didn't say that you said that. I'm just saying that for people who may be watching." That's one. And then two, inside of the video, see, this is how women get used. This is how we end up getting used, because we listen to what a person is saying. We see them, something doesn't feel quite right, and in our spirit, it's not matching up, right? He said that he does very well for himself. He makes money, but yet he wants to see what it is that the woman can do. No, 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 no. No. A woman does not come into a relationship having to prove herself or audition for a man. Men pursue. Ladies, you rest in your feminine. Okay? See, and then during our broadcast, and I'm going to upload that next, he starts talking about when was the last time a woman took him out on a date. I'm like, are you in a committed relationship? So it's like they trick you with this performance, with this smile. And so many of us are so desperate for the attention of our fathers that we're looking to heal it through these interactions with men. When I said that we worship men, we do, because the word of a man has so much more weight, so much so that I told you that women on that broadcast, women, uterine holders, were on that broadcast telling me to shut up. Okay? An elder woman coming back, trying to help them understand. Because if one thing that you'll notice, he started to fall apart when I asked him questions. He's an advocate for therapy. Everybody needs therapy. But when you ask the question, are you getting therapy? I had therapy many years ago. A lot of talking, yodeling. A lot of talking, right? But when you say yes, but what is it that you have done? Because he didn't have a problem planning his tour. He didn't have a problem his looking for a wife tour. See, this is what I'm saying. Game. Women, we need to wake up. So I'm so surprised at us that we're so disempowered as women that we can't even peep game from a person like this. 30 years old. No qualifications for giving the messages that he's giving. And then having the nerve to say that he doesn't make videos from his brokenness when we all have brokenness. No qualifications, no certifications, and not even now. If he had said, listen, I'm in therapy now. I had therapy last year. The man is still up until this day talking about how he can't cry, making videos about what it is that women need to do. Meanwhile, he was not raised in the household with a father. He has not had any therapy from the brokenness that he received as a child. And then he's claiming that he is, You know what? I'm going to upload my Facebook video next. I really want your thoughts and your point of view on this because we need to. I'm happy that this dialogue is coming up. So listen, I'm going to leave you all on that note, and I'll see you guys. Tanya TKO, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.